So now, Golden Dawn, a far-right party that was once the third largest political force in Greece, has been declared a criminal organisation by the Athens Appeals Court. The party has been effectively banned. Outside the courtroom, there was a strong police presence as left-wing parties, trade unions, anti-fascists and human rights groups rallied. As per local reports, around 2,000 policemen were deployed yesterday. Thousands celebrated as the verdict was announced, but it soon went downhill. According to the police reports, a group of around 600 people broke off from a crowd of around 20,000 people and lobbed some 150 firebombs and stones at police officers. The police then responded with tear gas and water cannons, bringing the 5-year-long battle to an end. The court said the crimes by the group members, including murder, attempted murder, assault and possession of weapons, were not the actions of individuals. The court ruled that the crimes were directly planned and ordered by the party leadership to eradicate perceived enemies.
With today's decision by the three-member Criminal Court of Appeals on the actions of Golden Dawn, a traumatic cycle in the public life of the country comes to a close. Its political dimension has, fortunately, been judged by the victory of the Republic, which expelled by the Nazi formation from Parliament. Now the independent judiciary gave its own answer.
As Greece was battling with a financial crisis in 2012, 18 far-right MPs secured their seats in the parliament. Leader Nikos Michaloliakos and 6 colleagues were convicted of heading a criminal group. The supporter Georgios Roupakias was sentenced and found guilty of stabbing an anti-racist musician, Pavlos Fissas, to death. 15 others were also convicted of the conspiracy in the case. Magda Fissas, the mother of the deceased artist, never missed a hearing in the last 5 years. The mother, fighting for her lost son, burst into tears as the guilty verdict was announced.
What Pavlos did truly was to show us the way. But you can't beat fascism that easily, so the fight must continue. But we won a battle. He showed you the way, didn't he? He showed the way.
65 members of the party were charged under what's called the Mafia Clause. 18 former party lawmakers were among those found guilty, and each faces at least 10 years in prison. Individual sentences will be announced in the coming days. Arrested first in 2013, the Golden Dawn members were not present in court yesterday. The leaders have denied the charges, saying that they are victims of political persecution. For more on this, we are being joined by journalist and author of War in 140 Characters, David Patrick Karakos, live from Athens. Thank you for being with us. Now, the third largest political force in Greece has been declared a criminal organisation by Athens Appeals Court, and they have now effectively been banned. Take us through the significance of this.
Well, this is hugely significant for Greece. Obviously, as you rightly pointed out in the piece earlier, in the depth of the financial crisis in 2012, this was a party, a movement that managed to get 18 of its members into Parliament. It was a great scandal at the time, and we have to understand that unlike many sort of far-right parties in Europe that at least try to sort of disguise what they are, Golden Dawn, even though they claimed they were a neo-Nazi party, their symbol was basically a swastika. They were pretty overt. They are always a very Nazi bunch of people. They are always violent. They're always a street movement, and exorcising them from the Greek political system is a day of catharsis for Greece, and it is something that has been needed and has been coming for a long time.
Right. The court ruled that the crimes were directly planned and ordered by the leadership of the party, and this was for them to eradicate perceived enemies. Take us through what it means for the members of that party now.
This was always a thuggish street movement. Even when some of its members were in Parliament, they had to be taken out of jail. to go and vote when necessary. So this was, calling Golden Dawn a party. Yes, it had a political front, but it was always a street movement, always a thuggish movement, always a violent movement. And as a result, its leaders directed violence below. The leader, Michaelakolis, who was, arrested, was one of the key people found guilty. We must not forget that his home was raided by police and weapons and ammunition was found there. This was a man who was steeped in violence and a man happy to direct violence all throughout his tenure as the leader of Golden Dawn. And we see the results in the death of Pavlos Fissas, and as well as the Egyptian fishermen and all the other victims of Golden Dawn.
Right. Now, the leaders have been charged under the Mafia Clause, and they, of course, have denied the charges, saying that they are victims of political persecution.
Well, I mean, show me a thuggish movement brought to justice that didn't say it was a victim of political persecution. But it's very interesting that they've been, they have been charged, as you say, under this Mafia Clause. These are people who are guilty of a criminal conspiracy. That's what they are. They're an organized crime gang that for a while, sadly for Greece, had representation in Parliament. This again is a very big day for Greek democracy. In many ways, the foundation of European democracy, at least, saw its democracy polluted by the influence of these people inside the political system, while at the same time they were directing acts, including murder on the streets. So yes, it's a very, very big day, and now the whole of Greece is waiting to see what kind of sentences are handed down.
Right, and David, just lastly, according to the police reports, there was a group of around 600 people who broke away from the larger crowd and were lobbing firebombs and stones at police officers. What is the situation now?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of anger about this. There was, in Greece, obviously, let's not forget, has a tradition of political protests and a tradition of let's be honest, rioting. So I think what happened yesterday was almost to be expected. This was a very divisive issue. There are a lot of people very angry about this. And we hope now that the sentencing that's come of the Golden Dawn leaders and members will go some way to, bringing an end to this very, very sad chapter in Greek political history.
Absolutely. David, thank you very much for joining us for all the latest in that story.